Roman senator, and the most famous of the assassins of Julius Caesar, commits suicide at about 4243 B. 85 BC. 930 Daigo, 60th Emperor of Japan 897-930 and Buddhist monk, dies at 46. 949 Yōzei, 57th Emperor of Japan 876-84, dies at 80. In 1260 Koetoez, Turkish Sultan of Egypt, murdered. In 1456 Saint John of Capistrano, Franciscan friar, and Catholic priest from the Italian town of Capistrano, Abruzzo, dies at 70. In 1550 Tiedemann Giese, Polish Catholic bishop and theologian, dies at 71 too. In 1581 Michael Neander, German mathematician and astronomer, dies at 52. In 1602 Franciscus Junius, French-Dutch Calvinist theologist and vicar, dies at 57. In 1616 Leonhard Hutter, German theologian b. 1563. In 1688 Charles du Fresne, Ducange, French philologist and scholar, dies at 77. In 1730 Anne Oldfield, English actress the Maiden Queen, dies from cervical cancer at 47. In 1753 Columban Praelisauer, German music director and composer, dies at 50. In 1764 Emmanuel-Auguste de Cahideuc, Comte Dubois de la Motte, French naval officer b. 1683. In 1774 Michel Benoist, French Jesuit missionary and scientist, dies at 59. In 1782 Joseph Riepel, Austrian-born German composer, dies at 73. In 1799 William Paca, American judge and signer Declaration of Independence, dies at 58. In 1801 Johann Gottlieb Naumann, German composer, dies at 60. In 1806 Franz Seydelmann, German composer, dies at 58. In 1856 Alexander Ross, Canadian fur trader, dies at 73. In 1868 Cullen Whipple, American inventor pointed screw machine, dies at 67. In 1869 Jean-Baptiste-Joseph Tolbecque, Belgian-French violinist, composer and conductor, dies at 72. In 1872 Théophile Gautier, French writer, historian and poet Albertus, La Chanson de Roland, Vox et Camoise, dies at 61. In 1874 Abraham Geiger, German theologian and leader of Reform Judaism, dies at 64. In 1885 Charles S. West, American jurist and politician, dies at 56. In 1886 Johann Nepomuk Kafka, Bohemian pianist and composer, dies at 67. In 1890 Charles Verlat, Flemish painter, dies at 65. In 1892 Emin Pasha, German explorer and governor Quitoria, murdered at 52. In 1899 Penn Simmons, British Major General during Second Boer War, dies in battle during the Battle of Tallanner Hill at 56. In 1901 Georg von Siemens, German banker and politician helped found Deutsche Bank, dies at 62. In 1903 Francis Ellingwood Abbott, American theologian scientific theism, dies at 66. In 1910 Ramavi Chulalongkorn, King of Thailand 1868-1910, dies at 57. In 1913 Edwin Klebs, German physician and bacteriologist, bacterial theory of infection, diphtheria bacillus, dies at 79. English cricket batsman and captain 22 tests, 2x100, HS 170, 54,896 runs over record 44 FC seasons, Gloucestershire CCC, dies of a heart attack at 67. In 1921 John Boyd Dunlop, Scottish inventor and vet pneumatic rubber tyre, Dunlop rubber, dies at 81. In 1925 Vyacheslav Gavrilovich Karatichin, Russian composer and music critic, dies at 50. In 1928 Franz Victor Alphonse Allard, French historian, dies at 79. In 1929 Thomas Frederick Tout, British historian, Manch School of Historiography, dies at 74. In 1939 Zane Grey, American Western novelist, Spirit of the Border, dies at 67. In 1940, Tujurkstam, German general, commandant of African Corps, dies at 56. In 1942, Ralph Ranger Reichenthal, American song and film composer, thanks for the memory, Love in Bloom, dies in a plane crash at 41. In 1944, Charles Glover Barkler, English physicist, 1917 Nobel Prize for Physics for X-ray scattering, dies at 67. In 1944, Hannah Brady, Jewish Czech Holocaust victim Hannah S. Suitcase, dies at 13. In 1948, Eugeniusz Mrozki-Dabrer, Polish composer, dies at 71. In 1949, Bill Trailer, African-American artist of folk and modern art, dies at 95. American-Lithuanian jazz singer and silent film actor Mamie Swanee, dies at 64. In 1951, Charlie Creath, American jazz trumpeter, saxophonist, accordionist, and band leader, dies at 60. In 1952, Susan Peters Susan Canahan, American actress, Random Harvest, Young Ideas, dies of complications resulting from pyelonephritis, pneumonia, and starvation at 31. In 1953, Maurice Lujan, Swiss geologist, Napism, dies at 83. In 1954, Henry Zaguian, Dutch composer and musicologist, dies at 76. In 1957, Frederick Burton, American actor, The Big Trail, One Way Passage, dies at 86. In 1959, Gerda Lundquist, the Swedish Sarah Bernhardt, Swedish stage actress, dies at 88. In 1966, Claire McDowell, American silent film actress, Big Parade, dies after long illness at 88. In 1969, Tommy Edwards, American R&B singer-songwriter at S All in the Game, dies from complications of cirrhosis of the liver at 47. In 1975, Barbara Morris, American actor, Wasp Woman, Machine Gun Kelly, dies at 43. In 1975, Charles Brockwar, American actor, Outer Gate, I Cover the War, dies at 77. In 1976, Leonard Lee, American vocalist, Shirley Lee, I Am Gone, dies at 40. In 1982, Jacques Klein, Brazilian pianist and composer, dies at 52. In 1983, Jessica Savage, American broadcast journalist and pioneering female news anchor, NBC Weekend, drowns in a car accident at 36. In 1983, Tamara Shane, Russian-American actress, Moma Yos in The Jocelyn Story, dies of a heart attack at 80. In 1984, David Gorsey, actor Angel S. Ali, dies at 63 in a diabetic coma. In 1984, James Petrillo, American labor leader, American Federation of Musicians president, 1940-58, and radio orchestra music director, WBBM Chicago, dies at 92. In 1984, Oscar Werner B. Schleimeyer, Austrian stage and screen actor, and The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, Ship of Fools, Fahrenheit 451, dies of a heart attack at 61. In 1986, Edward Adoisa S.R., American biochemist, vitamin K1, Nobel 1943, dies at 92.